So I figured out a while ago, as a kid, actually, when I had my first job, that I got through a temp agency. I wound up um, getting a lead on a job through a family friend. On this job with a dog food company, packaging dog food. And friend was, for the most part, was already on their way up in the company, and it wasn't hard, I guess you could say, because I had an insider to teach me like the basics of what they were actually doing and how they did it. So, you know, I'm no, I'm not some industrialist or anything like that, but you know, with the minimal requirements by the FDA or you know, dog food manufacturers and the people that regulate what they're able to do and get away with because of, you know, health reasons, obviously. Most of them just barely exceed the minimal requirements. So you personally have to make it better for them, somehow enhancing what you're giving the dog. Otherwise, your dog is not going to live the time and live the expectancy that they would, you know, if they were out in the wild somewhere and not a Pekingese or some little Chihuahua, or, well, you know what Chihuahuas were, they're pretty old breed, so they're hardy little creatures. But for the most part, you know, most dogs are derivatives of the wolf. So the wolf, you know, they, in the wild, you know, dogs, they can go 2-3 days sometimes without eating anything. So when they do eat, they gorge themselves. And a lot of those enzymes that kick in that break down the food properly or whatever do not kick in and produce the vitamins that the dog needs unless they're gorged, unless they're completely so full that their body has to like do something to help. So one good feeding usually is enough in the morning or whatever for your dog. You don't have to like let them free feed all day and just eat whenever they want to. It's not good for them if you were to really, really think about it. So these are all things that, like I said before, these are all things that are learned by experience, and some, you know, you may hear about it in other places, but in this case, it's something that I learned on my own because my dogs sometimes won't touch their food until the next day. Food will just sit there. They don't care for it, or their body is good. They don't need the nutrition. They're not expending enough energy to take in that much nutrition, you know, that much energy production. It's just not there. So if you're not working your dogs regularly and making them expend that energy and burn it off for a good portion of the day or a good time frame in the daytime, you don't have to overfeed your dog. So, but them having the right nutrients in the night, you know, the nice dietary, I guess you could say, variety, because you can't just give them the same thing. They just, you know, they get tired of it. They don't want to turn their nose up at it after a while. So changing it up makes it more interesting for them, and they have a meal to look forward to that you know, they're going to be looking forward to trying to savor that next meal, you know. I had the pleasure growing up of having a lot of cooks in my surroundings. My grandmother was a cook. You know, my mom cooked all the time. My mother-in-law from one of my kids' moms, you know, not actually in-law, but by birth, you know, my kid's grandmother, she owned a restaurant. And I like to say that trying new things and not being scared to try something different, try something new, could benefit you. You know, just because it sounds yucky or whatever doesn't mean that it's going to taste yucky or it's not good for you. So, you know, that feeling or whatever in the mouth, it's gooey, crunchy, you know, whatever, get over it. You know, eat the stuff, you know, try it. You might like it. If you don't like it, just don't try it again. It's okay. But yeah, dogs are like that too. You know, sometimes it doesn't agree with their stomach, or it's not something that they care for, so they just put their nose up at it and they won't touch it. And you got to respect that. You know, they're communicating. So these are all things that we've kind of covered already on the DogMan series. But thinking on it and reflecting a little bit here and there, I don't know, explaining it in ways that other people can understand it sometimes is good, because not everybody understands everything when they read it the same as somebody else. You know, people always interpret whatever they read or whatever they hear for themselves, or they don't, you know, understand it the way you're typing it out, or the way it came out, or the emphasis is not always there when you're reading something. So emphasis on voice and commands or whatever, very important with dogs. You have to be strict and make sure that they understand that you're for real. And I think they'll do what you want. But consistency is everything. So to be consistent, I gotta get going. I gotta go feed. I've already finished making meals.